Hi guys, it's Belle and I'm coming on for episode 8 of the altered book that we're working on, the autumnal one. And today I thought I'd be able to get all the ephemera done in one video, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. It might be a two-part. So today we're going to start making some of the ephemera for our altered book. And if you remember last time, I said grab all your scraps and bits of paper and things like that, because one of the things we're going to be making is a large collage masterboard that we can chop down into tags and things with our scraps, and that some of the book pages we tore out of the book that we are making. This isn't my idea. I think I probably first saw it on Gail Gustinelli, and I think she saw it somewhere else, but I love making these and they're really good fun. So I'm just going to show you how to do the first few pages, and then I'll probably speed up the process because, you know, once you get the hang of it, then it's done. I like to put, so you can see this is a rough edge here. I like to sort of glue that slightly on top of a straighter edge, just so that you know, that strengthens it underneath. It'll be strong anyway. I'm literally just putting a little bit of glue because we're going to be putting stuff over the top. Stay upright. Yeah, I'm just putting a little bit of glue because we are going to be gluing stuff over the top anyway. So it's just glued on like that, just really roughly. Make sure they're straight. Rub that down. And then we're going to start. So you should have lots of scraps left from our papers that we used. And I'm really not going to overthink this process. I'm really not. I've got lots of little bits and bobs. You use what you have. And I'm just going to get, so one of the first things I like to do is start collaging over the join, because that way, hold on, let me make some space to the side. That way, it helps strengthen it again. And you can ink all the edges if you want. I'm possibly not going to do that because once we chop it down, I'll ink the edges that way. So I'm just going to get started. And it's a great way to use up scraps. I actually really enjoy making these collage master boards when I've finished a project and I have lots of scraps left from that project. Oh gosh, everything's falling on me today. It's because I need so many little scraps and bits and it's all kind of falling on me. So yeah, so I like to put it over the join first. Again, it's just giving strength to that area. And yep, I'm just going to pull out scraps, not think too much about it. Like that might look quite nice there. Not think too much about it. Collaging is just kind of good for the crafting soul. It uses scraps and it's, you know, just a fun way to let your mind wander whilst creating. I might put it this way around so that that goes at the top of there. And there we go with that. Let me have a look at what other scraps I've got. So you see, this is quite a plain scrap, but that really doesn't matter because I'm actually going to put it on this side, because we're going to be putting other scraps over the top of it. So yeah, so just get your scraps out, get the book pages out and your glue, and get collaging. I'm sorry if the shadows. It's another dark day here in the depths of England. Yeah, and we will make journaling cards and tags out of this. Okay, so obviously I'm using bits of the book page. It doesn't even matter. I'm going to put that up there or over there. I know we've got it down here, but again, I'm going to cover it with smaller bits as well. So, yeah, we will do that. So I hope you're all okay. Yeah, I really did think, oh, I could get the ephemera done in one video. And then I looked and I realised that's not going to be possible. Okay, so all that's done. All right, so I also have some of the music paper scraps that I've used in the journal. I'm just getting rid of that plain bit, but I can use that on the back. And I'm just going to stick that there. You can see I'm not even thinking. I'm just grabbing a scrap. And I'm just thinking, does that look okay? Because you kind of start with your base. And then if you don't like it, things are moving. If you don't like it, you can always put another scrap over the top of it. So we've now covered every single piece of the front. And now what I'm going to do is, and we've also made a load of little scraps. It's fine. I will use those up. So now what I want to do is I have pulled out things like my tickets and other bits and bobs. And I'm also going to add those. And again, if you haven't got them, don't worry. Use what you do have. I'm literally just going to stick some smaller bits on top of all this to just add a bit more detail, because I sometimes, when I'm making these and cut them out to make tags and things, I don't always decorate them. I sometimes just stitch them and add a bit of fabric, because I like looking at all the layers of the papers. And again, you can see I'm just sticking them where I think maybe I need to break up some straight lines. I'm not overthinking it too much. I've got this too. That might go nice up there actually. Let's just tear that. So we just use the one. Yep, that'll go nice up there. And just do it. You know, just pull out the bits and use them. Also, why won't this stop moving today? Also, remember the stamps I said pull out that are just in the colours if you've got them. They don't have to be autumnal. You know, this has got all sorts of random buildings and things on it, but it's in the colours. It's in the autumn colours. And I'm just going to use those on there too. I'm just going to literally put the stamp on because, again, it's just a bit of added dimension, a bit of added texture. I'm doing everything up and down at the moment. You don't have to. Let's put one on at a different angle. You know, again, do what comes pleasing to your eye. Let's put one down here. And there we go. It's sideways. Because I don't know which way I'm going to chop this up. Sounds quite harsh there. Chop it up. So yeah, add some stamps to it. Just a few. So we've got some of those. We've got some tickets. Let me have a look. You could even add some labels, but I don't think I'm going to add labels only because, I mean, you could add some word labels like this. These are, like I said, I think these are Tracy Fox. They might look quite nice on there. Trying to see where there isn't one. Could add it like that. Okay, I'm going to do that. I didn't want to add my big plain labels because I might actually add those. Oh, sticky. To the front of the pieces if necessary. Let's do that at that angle. Yep, like that there. Okay, need some more bits over here. So yeah, just pull bits out and put them wherever you think they might look at their best. You don't know how you're going to cut it up, so that's part of the fun. I know some people turn it over when they cut it up so that you can't see at all, and that, you know, that's a real surprise then. I don't know, I haven't tried that. Again, the perfectionist in me is like, oh, maybe you want to see where you're cutting. Oh gosh, you're getting a real look into my crazy crafting head. Okay, so now what I also want to do is I had some of this fun wallpaper, like texture. I did use some of it in the journal, and I want to add that. It just adds more texture, guys. Again, I'm not inking. This is huge for me. The ink is away. It's huge. I don't even know where that was, but I'm just putting it there. See? Didn't even think then. Just added it. I like to add texture with things like wallpaper or textured, let me get rid of this, textured card and bits, just because I love texture. So. Looking for little scraps, like we've got some of this Edith Holden that's quite nice, so let's just put this somewhere. Like I think down there it'll go really nicely. Oh, it's autumnal on the other side. Would I rather have the autumn, or would I rather have it going into Christmas? The Christmas, let's go for it. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to add, actually, I had a piece of music paper just hanging around. It's saying to me, I want to go on. Okay, you can go on. I'm going to stick you there. That's where you were. Let's go. Look, my scraps are literally jumping onto the board to be collage, guys. That's what they're doing. They're like, pick me, pick me. Oh, dear. It has been a long couple of weeks, in case you couldn't tell. Really rub that down well because it's on that textured piece there. So the other thing I've got, where are they, is I've got some of these little stamped images that we made to possibly use in the journal. I'm not keeping that. I could. You can add that there. I mean, let's do it. I said I'm not keeping it. Let's do it just to show that you can just add tiny pieces like that should you want to. Just really make sure they're glued well. And then let's just add that there to break that up. I hope you can see that. Yeah, so we made some stamped images to use in the journal. And I'm just going to add these too. And it's another way then, if you don't want to decorate the front, you might have a stamped image on there. Obviously, you might only have half a stamped image. Who knows? Because it will depend where you cut. But I'm just going to add some stamped images and maybe a bit more brown paper because I like the way that breaks up. There's a lot of colour on here, guys, which is yummy, but still. So I'm just going to add that up there because it breaks up all of that. And again, it covers where there was a line a little bit. The last thing that I want to add, if I can find them, is I've got some pieces of my tea bags that I hand dye. Hand dyed? No, I don't. Tea bags that I use and dry. What am I talking about? And I just like adding these because I like the way they kind of mute things down. Now, normally I would use Mod Podge on this. It's probably much easier to use Mod Podge, actually. I'm going to try with the glue and see how that goes. Got to be super careful. I mean, tea bags are quite strong because obviously they have to go in water for a long period of time. And I'm just going to add that. And you get, I'm just going to carefully rub because I don't want to tear. You get everything slightly muted, but obviously you can still see through it. So let me bring that up to the camera. Everything's slightly muted, but you can still see. I can see that needs gluing down. This is why I like to use Mod Podge with it. But you also get that gorgeous kind of marking, tea bag marking. So it actually looks less, you can actually see it less in real life than you can on the camera. How funny is that? And I'm going to add another piece over here. I do have my Mod Podge, so I'm actually going to use that because it's bothering me with a glue stick. So let's just get that. Just a little bit. I'm going to glue on the back, well, Mod Podge on the back. Before gently picking it up. You do get sticky this way. So, and then it's easier for me to really make sure those edges are down if I'm using Mod Podge. Like so. Actually, I'm going to go over this one. So I hope you can see all that. Just need the tiniest bit. I just want the edges down. But yeah, I love using tea bags for things like this because I just love the effect. You could also use tissue paper, things like that. Like the Tim Holtz one, it is perfect as well for things like this. Even this bit, it's got the holes in it. See that? I love that. I love the kind of, and look how that's just kind of blended in, but just gives you a little bit of something extra. And yeah, it's blended in, giving you something extra, giving you a different dimension, and it helps to mute any really bright bits that you may not be loving. Trying to look, or adds interest to boring bits, like that's a bit boring up there with that brown. Oh gosh, come on. But yeah, so these are just simple tea bags. I have, if you didn't know by now, which you might not, I do talk about it a lot in my videos. I drink a lot of herbal teas. I start my morning off with a herbal tea. I finish my day with a herbal tea. And I have a couple in between. See, I just love how that looks. But that means that I have a lot of tea bags. And so I just dry my tea bags and then use them for my craft projects. And because of the type of tea bags I use, so mine are plastic free. They are compostable. They do, you can put them in your compost bin. Get your words out, Belle. They're all like eco and everything. So I don't mind actually using them on my craft projects because of that. But it just means even less waste. And adds, I mean, just look at now how that looks up there. It almost looks like I've added ink to it and things. And it's just adding, again, that little bit of texture. Now I've started, I can't stop. To the front of the masterboard. This is the last bit I'm going to do on the front, and then we're going to start on the back. Where do I want this? I don't know. I think I want it over here, actually. Right there. Ah! Stop moving. Let me move over. So you can literally, if you've got the space, you could do 10 pages in your masterboard. It's just start, move, start, move, start, move. I like to do probably no more than 6. This is 3 because then I start getting a bit, where is everything? See, now here's a bit plain. So I'm wondering, do I want something else there? We still do have this stamp, but there's 2 stamps quite close. You can also use some parchment paper. I mean, that adds a nice something. And that could be added just there, like so. Let's do that, and I'm going to put this down. Let's use that side because it's got inks on it. And I'm going to put this down with Mod Podge as well because I've got it out, so I might as well. It's on my brush. Let's just use that. Put that there. Mod Podge. Oh, should have thought about that. It's got inks and brush hose on it, so it's moving things. Oh, got to get that off over there. That will dry, but now it's got ink on it. Hold on, guys. I'm going to get an old scrap of paper that I've pulled from my glue book. I'm just going to rub that. You see the ink coming off? Right, now it looks much better. So yes, use some of your pieces too. I feel like I want another piece now because I've got, right, that's it. This is the last piece I'm putting on. Oh. Last piece I'm putting on, then we're moving on to the back. Because otherwise I literally could be here all day. And this time I'm not going to go over the top in Mod Podge. Okay, guys. So you can see how easy that came together. I can add more dimension to that. I might add more dimension to that. I really like how it looks. And when it's cut down and inked up, I think it's going to look lovely. That's already dried. Everything's already dried. So we're working on the back now. So one of the first things I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to pull out some of my scraps. So we've got this scrap. And on the back, I'm going to collage it with neutrals so that you can use it to write on. So yeah, let's get this done. I'm going to put this along the bottom because again I want to just make sure that these seams are really well reinforced. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look in my scrap box. See, I love even using things like this because it has the word on it, but you can still write on there. So I'm going to have that across there, I think. So yeah, you keep those headers. I love adding things like that to the back of mine. Again, it just adds that extra interest. It's a neutral background. You can still write around it, but it just adds a bit of interest. And I'm all for the interest. Let me have a look at what else I've got in here that I might be able to use. See, we've got all this. That'd work. I'm going to put it over here, actually. That would work. Again, it's just a bit from Edith Holden. Now, I could keep that because it's got writing on that side. But I'm really just going to be harsh with myself and use it. guys, here's our collage masterboard. So we've done the front. Yep, that's the right way up. So we've done the front. You can add more should you wish. I'm not sure if this is finished for me yet. I think it's pretty much finished, but I don't know. And then we've done the back. And again, it doesn't have to be completely plain. I've used some scrapbook papers, digital papers. I've used some Edith Holden. I've added some numbers. Add some detail. It's that simple. So I'm going to leave that for now because I like mine to dry overnight. So you'll see me in a minute, possibly chopping it up, whereas I'm going to leave this overnight. So guys, this is the collage card. I left it to dry overnight because I just find that it helps it sort of adhere to each other, and it makes it easier when you're cutting and things. And after I finish filming and I put this to one side to dry, I then end up making another one with some more of the scraps. And you can see here I've actually added some die cuts. So this is actually, I think, a 1, 2, 3, 4. This might be a 5-page one. So you can just see did exactly the same thing. Also then found some of this handmade paper here and added the scraps to the back. So now we have plenty to play with. And I really want to start making the ephemera and putting ephemera in here. If you remember, I said, you know, just get all your little bits and bobs that you might have, your ephemera pieces. Sorry, I was just grabbing them. Journal pieces, any handmade ephemera that you'd already got, any bits from any kits that you're using. This is the time we're going to get it. I'm not going to get like super fancy with the ephemera. We are going to make a few things. So, just getting my ink over as well. I'm in a different filming setup, guys, and it's chaos. So we've got this pocket here, and I thought this would be a really good pocket to put one of our collage pieces. And I thought this was quite nice because it had the mushroom. But actually now looking, I think I like this one maybe. So I'm going to measure it and then cut down what we need, and that will be our first tag. So I'm probably going to make it 4.5. So let's get my paper trimmer, and gosh, we need to sort that out, and measure 4.5 this way. We're just going to make it huge to cut through, but yeah, we'll use one of these. It's 4.5. Yeah, about there. Okay, and we're just going to cut that down and make a large journaling card. And because this pocket's up from the bottom of the page, that would be too big, you can see. So because this bit's quite boring, I'm going to just trim a smidge off the bottom of there. And then I'm just going to neaten up the top. So, and I'm just going to neaten up the side, because obviously we made this with book pages and scraps and bits, and they're kind of hanging off. So that is our first card. Let's see if it fits. It might not. I might need to cut it a bit more because I made this quite tight. Okay, yep, I'm going to have to trim it down, I think, a bit more. Okay, let's just take another smidge off the side. So I'm going to take a smidge off this side. Do you like my very exact measurements? Smidges. And a smidge off this side. And that should fit. I might need to take a little bit off the top. Okay. But I don't mind getting rid of a few scraps because it was completely made of scraps. And now That is fitting in lovely, and I love that because it's got this here. We could still add another image to it. I am going to round the corners because it makes it easier getting it in and out of the pocket. But I'm going to leave the top like that because I want to add one of these snippet pieces that we made. See, that's quite nice. It's quite big, so maybe not. That's cute. That's actually really cute, that one. I like that, so I'm not going to overthink about it, guys. I'm just going to add that. And I'm going to ink around it before I put the snippet on. So there we go, first journal card down. Now, please remember that if you are making these, because of all the layers, and because there's book page in between the layers, and this is an altered book, that it will add bulk to your book. And, you know, the more bulk, the harder it will be to not have it have an alligator mouth, as they say. And then I'm going to have this. I'm just going to glue this on. I was going to stitch around this card, but you know what? I can always do that later. And if I do, I'll show you in the next video. So, yep, let's put that. Oh, there's a little bit of glue. Let's put that on there. Okay, hold on a minute, guys. Okay, so that's just glued on there. Now, again, I think that's pretty enough. If you wanted to add like a piece, that might go really nicely on there, actually. Oh, see, now I'm looking at it and thinking that would go really nice. Oh, that's going to go so pretty. Would that go with this? Oh, it is. Okay, I wasn't going to add something. Now I am. So again, these are from the old design shop. I think it's their faded botanicals, or the shabby botanicals. The link will be down below. But I really advise, the great thing about altered books is using up what you have. So I already had these in my stash, and they just kind of went with these kits that I had purchased. Again, all the links that I can will be down below. And normally I would like to mat this on some fabric or some other paper, but I'm trying to keep it thin as possible. That is a challenge for me, and it's one of the reasons actually I enjoy making altered books, because even though this is only my second one, because basically I have to challenge myself to keep things flat. But that just looks so pretty, guys. And there is our first large journaling card, which I'm still struggling to get in. There we go, in. And there's some fabric poking out the top, which I love. And I love the red and browns here kind of pick up the others. So there you go, first journaling card. Now in here, what I was thinking is, I have some of this coffee dyed paper. Let's see, it's a little wide, but I can trim it down, and I want to kind of cut it to where I can maybe fold it over a little, or just put the one sheet in. Do you know what, let's just put the one sheet in. I'm not measuring very well because, again, I'm not sure what size your book is, so I'm just doing rough measurements for mine. I'm just cutting it at 5. And that will do. Let's see if that fits. Yes, that's going to fit lovely. But I'm going to get my pencil now, because I'm going to give myself a little, I'd say a 1/4 of an inch maybe each side, just to make sure I've made, you know, taking into account the glue. And there we go. And I just think having plain decorated paper in pockets for your altered books, even though that's not going in, there we go. Do you know what? I need to get underneath and just really do that. That's better. Okay. So this should go in now. There we go. I think this just adds decoration. Watch me struggle. Hold on. The struggle is real, guys. I'm just taking another smidge off. It just adds decoration to your page without adding bulk. Do you see? And it gives you more writing space. So that looks really lovely there. There. I might use a punch to edge that. But I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that for the moment. And I'm not going to ink around it because it already looks lovely. So we have a large pocket here. So I'm thinking this is a piece of ephemera from the kit. And I'm wondering if I want that in there. But actually we might, because I was going to make large ones here. Okay, so this is a piece of ephemera from one of the kits I was using, and I'm just going to add this. I'm going to ink around it. I'm just going to add this in here, and I may add a tab to that one, so I have like just my scraps of fabric here. We have still got all of these, so I could add one of those. I want them on the side ones as well, so we will see. I'm just, you know what, let's go for a tab. Let's do something a bit different. On here, really love this green fabric. And I'm thinking I might put it off to the side because I like that. Yeah, I might put it off to the side there. I don't just want it to be plain green. So I'm going to add some of this cheesecloth that I've used throughout the journal. Because this is where you can get like a bit bulkier, I suppose, add more texture and things. See, that just already adds to that by actually adding the fabric. Which, you know, let's face it, we all know I like some fabric. So, oh, I've got some of this. This is, again, it's just a little piece of fabric that I had. I'm just trimming a little bit off. It's why I keep so many scraps, guys, because I just like doing this. And that just adds to that. Now, again, I'm going to stitch this. You don't have to. You could staple it. You could glue it. Whatever you like. I like to stitch it. So I'll be back in a second. So I've just stitched along there. Again, it just adds that aspect of texture. But again, I know not everyone has a sewing machine or likes to use them, or, you know. So that just pops in there. So we've got a pocket here. But the first thing I want to do is do this pocket. And again, I wanted to use one of the pieces of the collage we did. So let's have a look. I'm thinking I want it to not be too bulky. Both of those are bulky. This is flatter. But I might just do that. So again, I'm going to give myself some pocket seam allowance. And just kind of, if we do it this side, then it doesn't matter because I can rub it off. And with book pages, remember, especially the older the book, the weaker the pages will be. So you don't want to be trying to force it and jam it into the pockets. You shouldn't really do that in any journals, but with altered books in particular, it can be an issue. So I've got this, and again, I'm going to take a smidge off the top. and I don't mind. That would be so good on top of like a journal pad. So, you know, and let's neaten up the sides and see if that's going to fit into my pocket for a large journaling card. Just in here. Oh, perfect, guys, absolutely perfect. And again, I'm going to round the edges of this just because I like to do that if they're going into pockets, especially large pockets like this. Look how quickly this is coming together, guys. I am not going to put anything on the front, sorry, I'm looking for my scissors, of this one because it's inside the pocket, so I don't feel I need it right now. But obviously, if you wanted to, you could. But I really like this one because of the leaf in the middle and the stamp, and it's got some of that textured wallpaper on there. Again, I'm wondering if I want to round the corners completely on this one or make it into a tag shape. I will think as I am inking. I think I want to round all the corners on this one. So let's do that. I really need a new corner puncher. Not that this one's not good, but it only gives me one option, and I get corner punch envy when I see people with the other punches where you have plenty of options and what you want to use. Okay, so again, let's get our strips out and see what one might work. This has got some red on it, and so's a lot on this page, got some red. But you know what? I really like that one. We've got another one there. These are longer. Got this one. I don't want it to be too bulky because it has to kind of fit there. So let's go with the one that I saw that I liked, this one. I have got fabric all over me, guys. It's just attaching itself to me, going, use me, use me. Let's see which way. I think I like that with the orange sticking out a little bit. So let's glue this one on there. Just glue half, so the other half sticking up. And I like to glue along where I've stitched. I've back stitched on a lot of it anyway, but just to give me that extra security, I like to do it along where it stitches to. Oh, so pretty. And there you go, all that writing space. Look at how it looks on the back. It's so much fun. It's just so much to look at. Texture without bulk. I suppose that's what I'm going to say. And there, we're already getting lovely fabric. Now, for in here, I thought we might do a large leaf tag, and I wanted to show you how to make one of these. So let's do that. So I've got a leaf that I've picked up this year and dried and flattened. Now the way I do my tags, you can do this with acetate. I like to do it with laminating sheets. One, they're nice and easy to pick up, and I find, let me get a piece of vellum. Oh, why is it I now can't find my vellum, guys? Okay, so let's get a piece of vellum. Oops, sorry. So I find vellum is nice, but can you see it actually looks clearer on camera than it does in real life. But if I put this leaf, this is the tricky bit, opening it, behind the acetate, not the acetate, the laminating sheets, I just think you see so much more of the leaf. Sorry about the glare. So, although saying that, now I'm looking going, do I want the, no. So what I like to do is, especially for a larger one like this, I'm going to take it to the end because you've got a join here. Take it to the end there, fold it over. I'm not putting it through my laminator. You can do if you have one. If you don't worry about it. You can also use your die cut machine if you've got tag shapes. I do not have a tag shape that's going to fit this leaf, so I am going to trim. Just going to cut it first. Obviously cutting laminating sheets can be a bit tricky, but that's okay. I've got this bit left over because I'm going to be making another one. Now I need to work out if that's going to be too wide, which yes it is. So I need to trim this down even more. Now I will say this works best if you have a sewing machine, because I have found that most glues do not stick laminating sheets. But this is how I can trim a little bit more of that off. This is how I like to make a lot of my dried flower and leaf tags. And some of you might have seen those in journals of mine before. So I thought I'd show you. Okay, so this is quite big. So I'm also going to move this down a tad, because I want the stem of the leaf in there as well. Yep, down like that. Now I'm going to trim the top. So yeah, I know this is all a bit of a faff, but this is how I like to make mine. And you can really see the leaf detail through it. Now I could just leave that as is, but I'm going to turn it into a tag. Just chop the corners like you would normally. And then guys, I am going to stitch around it because like I said, that's the best way to adhere it. So I will be back in a second. Gosh, that was seriously such a kerfuffle, guys, because I basically, my bobbin ran out halfway through. Now I realised these are thinner than the ones I usually use. They do add a lovely crinkle. They are thinner, so I would suggest if you're going to use laminating sheets to use the slightly thicker ones, because it's easier to sew. Also, I always sew on the side that's already sealed if there is one. Start my stitching off there, and just be careful, do it quite slowly because it can rip and tear if they're this small, thin. Another thing that might be good is if you use I was just thinking what could be used. The insides of cereal bags, cereal boxes, one of those. Now, because this is so thin, it's going to be a nightmare getting this in here. So, yes, watch me struggle again. Just lifting the pocket up and pushing that down. But I really love the fact I've got one of my autumn leaves that I've picked up this year in there. Sorry, I know it's glaring, but it's because it's laminating sheet, and I think it can go down further. There we go. It just sticks out a little bit. So, hoping that kind of shows. Yeah, so we've just got that. Now, obviously, that's just decoration. So we've got some pockets here. And I'm just having a look at a few other bits that I want to do. So I want to have a go at doing one of these whilst we're here, because again, I want to sort of get some of these made off camera, but I want to give you an idea of what you can do. So this is obviously, I've got a few of them, the negatives of the leaf that I was cutting out. And what you can do with this is actually get some of your inked parchment papers and things that you might have used. And these look so great just popped onto here. Like, that's one way you can use them. Obviously, there's lots of ways. You can put book page behind them. That will also look really, really pretty. I just can't find the one I'm looking for. So, yeah, but you can use your parchment paper, depending what you've got. See, I think that looks so pretty on there. And you just get the colour through it. You can back that parchment paper, but you know, that means that you're not going to be able to see the nice colour. I also have this, which is some vellum tracing paper that I had used some mica on, which I'm hoping is dry now. That mica takes forever to dry. And I'm just looking at what I want, so I like that. And just look how pretty that is, guys. So basically, first thing I'm going to do is glue this around all the edges so that these are nicely stuck down. Not right to the edge. I mean, you can go right to the edge if you want. So you can glue this. I'm going to stitch around the edge of mine, guys, just to doubly secure it. And again, I like stitching. You don't have to. I know lots of people say, oh, why do you always, like, not just me, other journalists, why do you show stitching? And I think it's because so many of us just fall in love with the idea of the look. Now, I like to pat the excess of my glue off onto my glue page. And I want this big blob one on the larger leaf to give more decoration. Oh, that's just so pretty, guys. Now, if you were to put some paper behind there, you can still see the mica. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to rub this down. And then I'm going to get some paper. Let me find some paper. I can't find anything today, guys. Really, I don't know what on earth's going on with me today. So just some tea stain paper. And this is why I'm also going to stitch, because you can just glue that around the edge. And you want it around the edge so you don't see the glue if your glue's not clear, of the card. But if I stitch that now, then that really secures it for me. So let me go do that and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, guys, so that's what it looks like. I've used a straight stitch instead of my usual zigzag that I love, because with the way the actual shapes are cut in this, I'm trying to trim it, a straight stitch just works better. Trim that off, trim that a little bit. And I've stitched away from the edge just so that I know that when I was trimming and that I know it's going to stay on properly. So there we go. There's another tag, guys. Look at that. It's got that beautiful. So again, you can use this kind of paper. You can use vellum and spray on it if you don't have any of that other kind of paper. And this will just go so beautifully. Let's find a pocket. We're just going to pop it in there. I might want it that way around. It's just going to pop in there, guys, like that. I've got a few others because I made die cuts, but it's a great way to use up your negative die cuts on there. So what I also wanted to show you was I have some book pages. And I also have this old Christmas card. So these are going to work perfectly for inside these pockets. Try to see where this one would go best. Yeah, it's just going to work perfectly for inside these pockets. Kind of like him poking out there. So, and shock of all shocks, guys, I'm not actually going to stitch around this. I know. Crazy. You could. I'm not going to. So I just stuck it onto. This was actually from my glue book. This was actually from there. And yeah, it was actually from my glue book, and it was one of the clear pages at the front. So I thought, well, it's aged, it's vintage, let's use it up. This is an old front of a Christmas card that I came across in my stash. So I thought, yes, let's use that as well. I know it's more wintry, but it has got some autumn trees, and it does have a fox, which is the whole point. So let's just... So I'm just showing you different things you can use. We are going to be doing another ephemera video, so I know I might be rushing a little bit in this one. Trying to make it just an hour or under if possible. Just inking around. And again, you can add a tab or a ruffle. You can round the corners. Do you know what? That might be quite nice on there actually, now I've done that. I always think about it afterwards. I just like a rounded corner if I can like do it. It's what I like best. So let's re-ink that. And yeah, if you've got your little fabric snippets that we've been using, one of those would go so nicely on there. And now I want to add one. Oh, I think that one will go beautifully, so we're going to add that one. I wasn't going to, but I can always make more fabric snippets. It's not like I haven't got enough fabrics or snippets. So yeah, and I just think it's going to look so pretty on there. So let's put it here. So we've got the fox, making sure it's stuck on the back. But yeah, this is from the front of a vintage book. Just a page from there, and then that would just fit in there like that, guys. Oh, isn't that so cute? So I could have him there, or I could move him there. I kind of like him there. I don't know why, but I do. So we're going to add him there. So we made our collages. Our collage masterboards. We've started cutting up. We've added some paper to here. Got a little piece of ephemera there. Made a leaf. Like I said, you can use the inside of cereal boxes. You can that cellophane wrapping. You can use tracing paper. I like to use laminating sheets, but these are quite thin, these ones, so I probably won't buy those ones again, but I've got it for now. Large journaling, collage journaling card in there. We're using up our snippets. Made a fun little negative die cut journaling space with some of this great mica and bits, and used up an old card and more journaling space. So I'm going to leave it there for now, guys, because this will be quite a long video, and I will be back with episode 2 where we will be finishing all the ephemera, adding it to pockets. So what I suggest you do is get out any other little bits and pieces that you might be using. Take the opportunity to spray some vellum or some parchment paper if you have it, or anything like that, if you want to make any of those. And if you are going to make some of these, I'm going to make a few more off camera, and I'm going to make a few more of these off camera just so that we've got it ready to just pop it in the pockets. But I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. I know it was a bit long, and I feel like I was rushing from one bit to another bit, but there we go. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're healthy and safe. And until next time, guys, bye for now.